Hey, good afternoon, everybody. CJ Goes Live, Steel City Houses, 25-year investor, landlord, developer, play Xbox with the tenants guy. Today, we are not going to talk necessarily about real estate. What we're going to talk about is timeshare. I fondly call it crime share. If any of you are familiar with timeshare, if any of you are not familiar with timeshare, I'm going to start from the beginning real quick. I'm making this fast for you because a little known fact about me: when I was 19, I dropped out of college and full scholarship. Thought I was smarter than the school was, and I got into real estate. And a lot of you know my story, but what most of you don't know is that I started in timeshare or in crime share, and it taught me to be a scrupulous person. Um, Most people in that industry, and sorry, folks, friends of mine that I've known for 25 years, it's an unscrupulous business, man. Buying a timeshare is the worst, absolutely the worst thing you can do. Why? Well, let me tell you how it starts, right? You're walking on a beach or you're walking in Vegas and a body snatcher comes. They call them body snatchers. Someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, I'm going to give you a free gift. I'm going to give you a $100 ticket to Red Lobster, or I'm going to give you free tickets to Disney." All you have to do is come and sit through this 15-minute presentation. That's what they'll tell you. Then you'll get to the desk and they'll tell you it's an hour and a half. But in reality, it's like 3.5 hours. And you go in there and you have a salesperson sit with you and tell you everything wrong that you're doing with your vacation, everything wrong with the dollars that you're spending and where and how you're spending them. And they will tell you how to solve the problem, and how to solve the problem where you'll pay almost nothing over 20 years or 30 years or 40 years. So they get you into what's called the picture. And I remember when I first started as a salesman, I rode along with a lot of these guys and girls who were in the business for a long time. And the lies, just the lies that they would tell. They would tell people, for instance, when I worked in Daytona, they would tell people, "Yeah, we're building a new resort, and there's going to be a helipad on top, and it's going to fly you. You're going to get a free helicopter to fly you from Orlando International to Daytona Beach, and then you'll be able to stay for your week, or that you can take your week and you can trade it anywhere at any time." With none of that is true. People are not trading a summer week in Daytona Beach for a Christmas week in Hawaii. It's just not happening. The program that they use is called RCI or II, Resorts Condominiums International or Interval International. And basically, what you do is you buy a block of time. There's 52 weeks in a year. You buy a block of time. You can buy a fixed week, so you can come back first week in June every year for the rest of your life, or you can float it. You can move it around, and you can move it to a different week as long as it's available. Usually it's not available. Christmas is not available. New Year's is not available. Most times during the summer are not available. Thanksgiving's not, Memorial Day, Labor Day, none of these are ever available. It doesn't matter. I don't care. Even if you own that week, sometimes you can't get it. So the gist of it is that you're spending X amount of dollars, $3,000 a year on vacation. Well, why don't you buy this nifty timeshare for $20,000? And we'll even finance you. Well, we'll finance you at 18% for 10 years or 12 years, and you have a payment of $300 or $400 a month. Now, if you do the math, $300 a month times 12 is $3,600. So if you were spending three, the argument is you're staying at a Howard Johnson, right? And you want to stay at a Hilton, or you want to stay at a Westgate, or you want to stay at something that's like luxurious in Orlando, a Disney resort, or something, which you can never get. You can never get the Disney, trust me. you're gonna get Branson, Missouri in November. That's usually what your trades will get you, and you're paying on top of this once you purchase this, because it's high pressure. It's really high pressure sales, and they won't let you go until you say yes, usually. And a lot of people cave in. They're like, "Yeah, I'll just do it. I'll just put it. I'll sign." And then they go home, they cancel the deal anyway, because you have 10 days to cancel, by the way. You have 10 full business days to cancel your deal, as long as it's faxed in or it's in writing. And a lot of people don't understand this. And what they also don't understand is that once you put your name on that dotted line, you're responsible for the rest of your life for that payment and for maintenance fees, right? What's maintenance fees? Well, every year, for instance, when I worked at Grand Seas Resort in Daytona Beach in the late 90s. Two bedroom was around 15,000. Payments were around 350 a month for 7 years, 18% interest. And then on top of it, you have a maintenance fee that you have to pay every year. What's the maintenance fee? God, I don't know. To put new pillows and new carpet, that's what they would say. But if you multiply 52 weeks times $300 or $400, you do your math, kids. That's a lot of pillows and a lot of blankets and a lot of carpet and plastic dishes from Walmart. It doesn't really, the money doesn't add up. But what you also get is every 10 years or so, if you've got a nice resort, you're going to have a special assessment. So you can feel really, really special, folks, because they're going to tack on another $5,000 or a $10,000 assessment to your timeshare fee. And when you want to trade, if you can trade, which you usually can't trade, but if you could trade and you want it to go somewhere else, you're going to be spending back when I was in the business, $150 for a trade. I think 142. I don't even know what it is now. It's got to be 300-400. But what I do know is that the maintenance fee at the resorts that I worked at in Daytona Beach are now closer to $1,000. Now I know this from personal experience because I actually ran my own resort. I was the youngest project director in Daytona Beach at the age of 24, and I ran the Americano Beach Resort. And I've seen the maintenance fees just in the year that I ran that project, they almost doubled. And that was 20 years ago. I'm not sure what they are now, but I'm sure they're not no $400 or $500 a month anymore. You look at some of the resorts in Vegas, in Hawaii, in Orlando, these folks, Miami, these folks, Fort Lauderdale, they're getting Phoenix, Mexico, they're getting maintenance fees that are like $2,000 a year now. Well, it doesn't really make sense, right? Because if you were taking a vacation for three, and let's count inflation and all that stuff, because it's 2023, right? It's July 2023. So hotel rooms are like $150 now, right? 20 years ago, you could still get them for 40, $50. But what the timeshare salesperson would make you believe is that which we did, and we do have inflation, and it's true. I remember showing on a chart 3% inflation, cost of inflation. Your vacations are going to go up in price. But at this point in 2023, even if you were spending $200 a night, that's only $1,400 a year on a hotel room or a condo. And a lot of times you can go on the Priceline or you can go on hotels.com and they have these condos, right, that are for sale or for rent, and they're really cheap. So the idea that the salesperson will plant in your head is that if you're not going to use it, go ahead and rent it out, right? You're going to make thousands. The problem is the resort takes half. So even if you are rented out for $500 a night, they're going to take $1,750 of that $3,500. So you're still losing because your payments are $300 or $400 a month. Your assessment or your maintenance fees are $1,000 a year. You're losing your butt. And here's the fun part: when you die, it doesn't die with you. It goes to your kids, right? So now your kids have to continue to pay that maintenance fee. And guess what? If you stop paying on your timeshare, they foreclose. And guess what goes on your record? Your credit. A foreclosure. Believe that. So now when you go try and buy a real house, you have a foreclosure on your record. And guess what? Nobody's going to finance you. No bank's going to take you on. They don't care if it's a timeshare. They just see foreclosure. So I warn you and I caution you, if you buy one of these things, you're never going to get your money back out. And chances are you ain't never going to sell it either. You're going to have to give it away. I see on the secondary timeshare market, whereas I suggest that's where you go. If you really want a timeshare, if you really want to go back to a certain spot every single year, then maybe a timeshare is right for you. I still don't think it is, but maybe it's right for you. Just remember that when you go to sell it, you're going to get maybe 5 to 10% of the value. So what I would suggest is, if you really want to find somewhere that you really like and go back to every year, you go to the secondary market and you buy points, or you buy a fixed week in an older resort, because that older resort is going to be more established. They've already gone through their maintenance fees. They've already gone through their special assessments, most likely replaced balconies, replaced pools, pillows, and chairs. So you want to stick with an older resort that has a lower maintenance fee, that has trading power. So you want to buy in somewhere like Orlando. You still want to buy. It's the world's greatest destination for tourists, right? So you want to buy there. You want to buy in Phoenix. You want to buy in Hawaii. You want to buy in Las Vegas. And you want to buy in an area that has the least concentration of timeshares as well. I'm not trying to talk you into buying one. I'm just telling you that if you really, 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 really wanted one, they're available very cheaply on the secondary market. For instance, I saw one the other day because I still belong to some of the tug groups, and I see people selling their timeshares that they paid 40,000 for at Vistana, and they're asking for 2,000 or nothing. Just take over the maintenance fees, and we'll just give you the $40,000 timeshare for free. High pressure sales techniques. It never works out the way the salesperson tells you it's going to work. It never does. It really never does. And I know I'm going to get some hate on this, and I'm going to get some friends of mine who are going to comment and say, you were in the business, and yeah, I was a 20% closer, over 20% closer. I was really good at what I did, but that was years ago. Looking back, moving forward 25 years later now, I realized that it's not a good investment, and it never was a good investment. When I was 19 and I was selling it, and I'm new to the game and I'm new to real estate, I'm thinking, wow, this is the coolest thing you could buy. You got a fractional share, you can brag to your friends, I own a condo in Florida. You don't really own a condo in Florida. You own a timeshare, you own 1/52nd of a condo that you can barely ever use. So my advice is, if you're looking to buy a timeshare, just don't, first of all. But if you are, go on the secondary market. It's very costly once you own. There are timeshare companies out there that will kill the deal for you, even after like 10 years of paying. They timeshare reclamation or whatever they are. There's a couple of reputable ones out there. I won't recommend them, but if you want to go do your research, they can get you out of your timeshare. They can actually legally unbind you from that timeshare. Now you got to pay them. You got to pay them like $5,000. They'll get you out of it, but they're salesmen too, and the way they sell it to you, you can have $65,000 more in payments over your lifetime. Give me $5,000, and I'll kill those $65,000 in payments. So at the end of the day, it's still best, in my opinion. It's not ownership, right? That's how they pitch it. Oh, you're an owner. Don't. There's no pride in that ownership. You're best off going to booking.com or renting one of these Airbnbs, and you're just done with it. Like, you're just done. You go, you take your stuff, you have fun, you take your stuff back, you bounce, and that's the end of the story. There's no maintenance fees. There's no stupid special assessments. There's no fighting for the week you want. There's no paying for II or RCI. There's no paying for exchange fees. It's a no-brainer to me. I did own timeshare, and I was smart enough to get rid of it in my 20s. And yeah, did I use it? Yeah, I used it. And I used things like these little bonus weeks and took cruises. And yeah, it was cool. But the market and the industry has changed so much now that the assessments on everything make it unaffordable for you to actually keep one of these things long term. It's an amazing novel idea when you jump into it at first, but the bottom line is you're going to pay dearly for this, and you're going to hate it. 90% of you. So in conclusion, today, this video, to sum it up, is not to discourage you from buying a timeshare. Well, yeah, it is kind of. It's to discourage you from buying. Don't do it. Just don't do it, folks. You're never going to get your money back. You're going to deal with a 5-hour tour where somebody's beating the hell out of you until you say yes. And most people don't feel good about it. And remember, you have a cancellation, right? So salespeople out there, when you beat people up and you get your spiff in the morning, that's great. But then when you go in your closet and you see the red cancel letter from Mr. and Mrs. Smith that you know damn well you pressured into buying that timeshare, you're going to regret wasting your time, salespeople. Be honest with people. Don't tell them about helipads. Don't tell them we're building 6 new pools. Don't tell them we're building a rocket ship to space and you're going to be able to take it for free. Salespeople, be honest with your timeshare tour, because that's what you guys are, or guests. You're called guests, but you're a tour. And stop spinning them, by the way, if they don't buy right away. In conclusion, folks, I would suggest you go with the hotel idea or the Airbnb. Skip the timeshare. Have a wonderful, what is this, Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday. Have a wonderful Tuesday.